Hey everyone, I'm Sean, and this is my wife Julie, and today we're going to show you how to make quick and easy smoked ribs, a roasted corn salad,
and a blood orange margarita.
Subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned to figure out the recipes. Bomb. So good. A really good rib. Alright, so today we're going to do 2 racks of ribs, and what we're doing is St. Louis rack, and those are probably the best to do if you're a beginner, only because they're already trimmed, so you're missing all the rib tips, and then also the sternum bone, which can cause some difficulty if you're doing ribs for the first time. So the other important step is to make sure they're all the way thawed. You want to have these seasoned and marinated at least an hour before they go on the barbecue. These were seasoned and overnight, so what we'll do now is take off the membrane on the back. Some people like to leave it on. For this particular recipe, you probably want to take it off just because it's a high temperature cook, and the membrane will get kind of crispy at the end, and it's not always great. So what we'll do is we'll flip over the rack. And you want to have, for this part, you want to have like a dole, just like a butter knife. And what you'll do is just find one of the bones here, just a few in, and you can kind of whittle the knife in there. Some of these, not all ribs are made the same, so some of them will be a lot easier than others. So if it doesn't come off, it's not the end of the world. Like I said, people like them different ways. The membrane's also really slippery, so you want to grab at least just a little piece of paper towel or something, and it allows you to grab it and yank. This is the best method that I've found without really like carving up the meat. But like I said, it takes some patience and some effort, and some are really easy and some are more difficult. For instance, before the video started, I did the other membrane on the other rack of ribs, and it came off real easy. And so of course this one's a little more difficult, but it's all right. You just gotta keep working at it. And like I said, if it doesn't come off, it's not the end of the world. Once we pull off some of this membrane, you want to just take the flap and use a sharp trimming knife and just get rid of some of this extra stuff. Don't need it. The extra fat can go. You want to leave some of the fat on, but the bigger, harder, like more like nodule type pieces, you want to take those off. And like I said, these are St. Louis cut, so they're already trimmed pretty well and got a nice like rectangular shape. If you have a normal, like just a baby back ribs or a normal rack of spare ribs, you probably want to do a little more trimming. It'll make it a lot easier once you're done cooking. So what we want to do before we throw these on is just do another layer of seasoning. I like a lot. When you put seasoning on, some people like to do like a coat of yellow mustard first. It's really whatever you want. The whole point of this recipe is that it's just really easy and simple. And if you look up rib recipes, they can be intimidating because it's like 2-2-1, 2-3-1, all kinds of crazy stuff. And these ones are real simple. You just go on the barbecue for 3 hours. They're quick and easy. 3 hours at 300 degrees, and then you're done. The other thing, and this is what it'll look like, a nice clean rack with the membrane all gone right there. Like I said, it doesn't really matter. So what we want to do is season these again. You want to always make sure you season both sides. It'll kind of help lock in the moisture, and if you get the membrane off, it really helps soak in the seasoning during the cook. So you can use any of your, any favorite rib rub you have. For this particular recipe, you want to use one that has less sugar, because we are cooking at a higher temperature and the sugar will tend to burn. So you want to go, for this particular one, you want to go light on the sugar. But like I said, whatever one's your favorite. You can even buy a lot of local stores, Smart and Final, Costco, they'll have pre-seasoned racks that you can just buy, and those tend to be pretty good. The whole point of this episode is quick and easy ribs, so that's the quickest way to buy them pre-seasoned. So now what we're gonna do, we got our pellet smoker up at 300 degrees. You wanna make sure that's completely up to temp before you throw them on. then we'll just place them on there. And then we'll let them go. And once again, we're doing that for 3 hours at 300 degrees. And then what we'll do is about 2 hours into the cook, we'll start spraying them down with some apple juice, apple cider vinegar mixture. That's optional. It just tends to keep them a little more moist since we're doing a high temperature, faster cook. Okay, so while we have the ribs on, it's 300 degrees for 3 hours. They've been on for like 45 minutes. So while we're waiting, we're gonna make a cocktail and a side.
Blood orange margarita, to be exact. We were inspired by the bar by our house. We got these beautiful blood oranges. They're in season right now. And we're gonna make an easy drink. And I always get stuck when I make a really good drink for my friends, making drinks all day. So my new tactic is to make a big pitcher and then just shake each drink when it's needed. So we're gonna make a pitcher of the blood orange margaritas. It's really simple. We're going to do equal parts lime juice. This is about a cup and a quarter. This is lime juice that we have lovingly hand juiced. Well, actually him. You can use store-bought, but to me, it pays to juice your own limes. It pays to not be lazy. It tastes better. But I won't judge you if you want to buy store-bought. Okay, so we have about a cup and a quarter of lime juice. We're gonna do about the same amount of tequila, maybe a little more, just because I like strong drinks.
We like our drinks boozy.
So we'll do, about a cup and a quarter.
Precise measurements aren't really our thing.
Maybe a little more.
So.
Okay. Yeah, throw the cap on the ground.
You don't need the cap.
Don't need that. Now, orange liqueur, you're gonna put about half as much as you did tequila. So we're gonna put about 3/4 of a cup. In we go. And then, last but not least, we're gonna do blood orange juice, and we're also gonna do about 3/4 of a cup. This will give it a beautiful color, sweeten it up just a little bit, and make it not just your average margarita. Boom, that's it. I don't know why I said boom. That was stupid. We now have a blood orange margarita. You can do this in larger amounts. I just do the measurements by parts. So equal parts lime juice, tequila, half part
Triple sec,
the stuff,
orange
liqueur of your choice, whatever, and just a splash of blood orange juice, basically. So what we're gonna do now is serve them. So you're gonna want to take a shaker, fill it up with ice. Perfect. Now you want your cups also to be full of ice, and you want to fill them like basically all the way to the top. So you gonna ice me, thank you. Okay, so we have our glasses filled all the way with ice. Oh, forgot to salt the rim. Okay, so now this is an optional step, but I prefer salted rim. He doesn't. He likes no salt. You can use regular salt. I'm feeling a little funky today, so I'm going to use this Trader Joe's chili lime seasoning. And what you do to salt a rim really easy is I just pour some on a plate. Move the straw. Take your fruit, just kind of get the edge a little bit wet and sticky. And then I just kind of, oh, that's nice. There's water in there. Okay. Roll it in. There. Salted rim. So I'm gonna salt mine. I'm gonna leave his unsalted.
Now we're gonna ice.
And we're gonna ice them. These ice is in bowls because we forgot to salt the rims originally, so we had to dump it out of the glass.
Water, anything.
And a bunch of Sean hands. So thank you. Okay. So before you serve the margarita, this is a crucial step. This is warm and gross, so you're gonna want to pour it into a shaker filled with ice. You're gonna want to secure the lid. This is also a crucial step, unless you like your clothing to be splatter painted. And now I'm just gonna shake, and then when you're done shaking, you think you've shaken it enough, shake it just a little bit more.
Oh, I got robbed.
Okay, oh my god. Okay. Once the outside of your shaker gets nice and frosty, this is the dangerous part, especially since I'm wearing white. Yeah, you do it.
Oh, dang, it's on there.
Yeah.
There we go.
Cool. So this shaker is nice. It has a little strainer built in. Just going to strain my blood orange margarita over ice. I need a little, whoa! A little more for him. A little nice.
Nice.
Thank you. So this way, whenever your friends are ready for another drink, you don't have to make it by hand because it takes too long. And you can get back to enjoying your day. I was gonna save the garnish for the last step, but Sean beat me to it, so here we are. Blood orange margarita. And more for later. Cheers.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm out.
That's long.
So the ribs have been on for like an hour and a half, and now we're gonna start the corn, the grilled corn, for our grilled corn salad, which is our side dish. Or actually, I'm gonna make Sean's food. And I'm gonna go sit down with my dogs.
So it's really important when you grill the corn that you soak it in water before, or else, especially if you leave the husks on, or else it'll catch fire. If you don't have two grills, like most people don't, we're pretty lucky. You can always do your corn for 45 minutes in the oven at 350 with the husks on and just put it straight on the rack, and you'll get the same charred corn you would on the grill. Okay, so the ribs have been on for a little more than 2 hours, and this is the time if you want to spray, you want to start spraying. I'm using a blend of apple cider vinegar and beer. You could do pretty much whatever you want, but I definitely recommend beer. Some people do Sauvignon Blanc, like any kind of white wine. Some people do champagne. You can do beer, you can do apple cider vinegar, apple juice, whatever. This is the first time I'm opening the smoker, so it's really important that you don't open it, because if you're looking, you ain't cooking. So this is the first look here. So they're looking pretty good. Got a nice bark on there. So this is where you want to start spraying them down. So we'll do that about every 15 minutes or so until we get to 2 hours and 45 minutes, and then we'll put our barbecue sauce on, and then they'll almost be done.
We're gonna make grilled corn salad, which is one of my favorite summer barbecue dishes. So we have grilled corn here. We have this dressing that Sean already made, but it's a little bit of the juice of 2 limes, 2 ounces of olive oil, salt, pepper, and garlic to taste.
Yep.
All right. And then, first step, grill the corn. This has already been done for me by him. And then you're gonna shape it up. Probably do this into the bowl.
Yeah. So if you take the husks off and your corn isn't charred enough, you can also just throw it back on the grill for a bit once the husks are off to give it a nice char. And if you're doing it in the oven, you could do the same thing. 350 for 30 minutes, like I said earlier. And you want to leave the husks on, make sure they're soaked. And once you are done cooking, you can take the husks off. And then if you want it to be a little more charred, you could do it on the open burner if you have a gas stove, or you can just place them on the rack and put it on broil for a minute or two until it gets as charred as you want. Some people like it more charred than others.
I like a little char.
Yeah, we like a little, like 50-50.
I also like to make messes.
So we have just under 20 minutes or so left on the ribs. And so what we're gonna do now is grab some barbecue sauce. So for this recipe, it's just, quick and easy ribs. So in future episodes, we'll have different barbecue sauce recipes. I personally like my barbecue sauce a little more vinegary and or spicy. But everyone has their own taste. So just grab whatever barbecue sauce you like the most. Put it in a bowl, and then what you want to do is grab like a paintbrush or some kind of other brush. You can even do it with like a rubber spatula. And then for the last 15 minutes, while the ribs are on the grill, you want to put a little bit of barbecue sauce on them. The sauce that I'm going to be using is by Famous Dave's. It's pretty much available in most major grocery stores. It's a spicy one called Devil's Spit. It is really spicy though, so if you have people that don't like as much spice, I definitely don't recommend it. But for our family, spice is king, so we like everything hot.
So now, the corn is shaved and hopefully staying in the bowl. The rest of this dish is super simple. You just chop it all up and mix it together. It's best if you let it chill in the fridge for like an hour or so before serving. It's a dish that's served cold, and also it helps all the flavors meld together. So you want to make this a little bit before you want to serve it. But anyway, the rest of this dish, it's really easy. Diced red onion, jalapeno.
With the seeds removed. Yeah, so we did 2 whole jalapenos with the seeds removed,
Tomatoes.
and one whole red onion, and a bunch of cherry tomatoes.
Cilantro.
Like a quarter cup of cilantro.
And then last but not least, diced avocado. I'll show you my little avocado peeling technique that I learned, if you don't already know anyway, from working in restaurants. So the easiest way to peel an avocado for dicing, slicing, or any type of presentation where you want the avocado to look nice is to cut it in half, remove the seed, and then you'll want to cut it into quarters, like so. And this allows you to be able to peel the skin off. Now we have a beautiful hunk of avocado that I can dice up, or slice up, or whatever you want to do. For this dish, we're dicing. Avocado.
So like I said, we're going to be using Famous Dave's Devil's Spit barbecue sauce. You can find it at Smart and Final. Most grocery stores will have it. Shout out to Clayton Belden for showing me this. It's like the best barbecue sauce.
It is.
Besides the one we make on our own, but that'll be for a different day. So the barbecue sauce is on, and then what we'll do is let that cook for another 15 minutes. We'll throw this in the fridge as soon as it's all finished and dressed. That'll cool, then we'll take the ribs off, and you always want to let your ribs, or any smoked meat for that matter, rest for at least 15 minutes. So what we'll do with these ribs is I'll take them off, put them on the butcher paper, and then just lay another piece of butcher paper on top. If you don't have butcher paper, you could just use foil. It works the same.
Parchment paper?
Yeah, or parchment paper. You just want to keep a little bit of the steam in there and the temperature in there, so they don't get cold. But like I said, 15 minutes and then we're ready to eat. There's some perfect chops.
I like big chunks of avocado because avocado is delicious.
It is delicious.
And the cool thing about this salad too is you don't have to have the perfect amount of anything. Whatever you like.
Yeah.
You like a lot of tomato, put more tomato. Doesn't have to be. Just gonna pour this on. Give it a gentle stir. Because of the avocado, you don't want to stir it too much. We don't want guacamole. And that's it. In the fridge it goes. Maybe a little plastic wrap on top.
All right, so it's been about 15 minutes since we finished up the corn salad and put the barbecue sauce on the ribs. And so we're gonna go ahead and take those off.
Okay, you a cold dude.
So little cracks in the bark like this one are good. You should have a little bit of flop, but they shouldn't break. So you can see the cracks in the bark there. That's a good sign, means you did a good job. These ribs are not gonna be like fall off the bone, just melt right off. I personally don't like my ribs like that. I'm a carnivore. I like to bite them off and feel my teeth going through the meat and not having them just fall off the bone. But if you do like your ribs more tender or have a difficulty eating them off the bone, you definitely want to try some of the more, what I consider to be more difficult methods, like the 2-2-1, where you wrap them or put them in a foil tin, etc., and more of a steamed method. I never boil my ribs or do anything like that. I think it's cheating. They're just as good just throwing them on the grill. This just proves you can have awesome ribs. 300 degrees for 3 hours, nothing special. Spray them or don't. There's really no way to mess these up. All right, so it's been 15 minutes. So we're gonna uncover these and then slice them up and eat. Oh yeah. That doesn't suck. Makes it real easy. So just so you can see, really meaty, really juicy, nice spark, and a really good smoke ring on there. For only 3 hours, it's a no-brainer. So this particular rack of St. Louis ribs wasn't trimmed properly. So whoever did it at the butcher shop, they left a rib tip in there. That's why I was having struggling cutting that. So that's the point of buying the St. Louis ribs, so you don't have that and your knife just goes clean through. But, you know, makes for a tasty little morsel. I'll post the recipe for the rub on our Instagram. It's at BESTEST BBQ. I have a beef rub on there now that's really good, and actually that beef rub's a good rib rub too. It's pretty light on the sugar, so it goes really well with this recipe. This rub that I use today is mostly salt and pepper. Has a little bit of sugar in there, but also has coffee. That's a really good trick. So that's what it looks like. I'm gonna get the corn salad out, and then we'll start serving up. I don't know where the spoon is. Good enough. I don't recommend this method. This is a super sharp knife, cut your hand method. But my wife's not watching, so it's good for today. And look at that. This right here is a summer meal. Quick and easy ribs, only 3 hours, technically 4 hours if you season them properly and let them rest in your fridge and bring them up to room temp. Blood orange marg and the corn salad. Awesome.